The Rams finally signed their rookie tight end. Is Kyren Williams too expensive for the Rams? How's the 53-man roster look right now? And why a former Rams Super Bowl champion does not wear his Super Bowl ring? That's coming up next on Locked On Rams.
You are Locked On Rams, your daily Los Angeles Rams podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Ramily, and welcome to another episode of Locked On Rams, your daily podcast covering your Los Angeles Rams. Free and available wherever you get your podcast. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We're also available over on YouTube, and if you haven't yet, we are just in single digits away, a couple more subscribers away from 18,000 subs. Lots of new viewers and listeners recently, and we're trying to get to 18,000 subs before training camp. We're almost there, so if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. If you're a longtime subscriber, if you want to support the channel, hit the like button, drop a comment down below. Podcast listeners, write us a review. We'll read it on the show. Thank you so much to all the new viewers and listeners out there. My name is Doug McCain. Friends call me DMAC. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. I've covered LA sports for over a decade, 24/7 Sports, Bleacher Report, SI. I also do NFL radio for Westwood One. Today I am flying solo, but the People's Champ, Mr. Travis Rogers, will be back tomorrow. But we've got a jam-packed show. A rookie finally signs. We're going to take a look at the 53-man roster, talk some Kyren Williams contract. But first, today's episode of Locked On Rams brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. All right, lots to get into. Training camp is fast approaching. July 24th. We are almost there. Less than a week away. Cannot be more excited. So lots to get into, but I want to start with a story that I heard while listening to Deshawn Jackson's podcast. It featured former Rams player Deshawn Jackson, and Deshawn Jackson said he does not wear his Super Bowl ring. Of course, he got a ring for the 2021 Super Bowl, Super Bowl 56, but he did not play in that Super Bowl. He said, quote, "It's a bittersweet situation. I ain't even play in the game." Now, we know what happened. Deshawn Jackson, the Rams, they did part ways during the season, and he finished that year with the Las Vegas Raiders, but he still got a ring. He still got that ring, and he still contributed in some capacity. He ended up playing in just 7 games for the Rams that season. But I just find that interesting. I mean, what do you do with it? I mean, not to wear it. To put it on once. Put it on once, see how it looks. And then, hey, I don't know what you're going to do with it. But, hey, he made 8 catches. He had 221 yards, had 1 touchdown and 15 targets. So, hey, you did find a way to contribute in some capacity. And Sean McVay brought him to the Rams to be that deep threat after Brandon Cooks left. But he didn't get enough action, so, yeah, things just didn't work out like they had hoped. But still, come on, put on the ring for one time. Come on, I want to see you wear that ring. He's had a really good career. I mean, 15 years in the league, played for the Eagles, the Commanders, the Buccaneers, finished with 641 catches, 11,263 yards, 58 touchdowns. I'll never forget when he was a Cal Bear, ripping it up in Berkeley. But come on, Deshaun, wear that ring. What do you guys think about that? But let's move to some more important news. The last time we talked, the Rams had not signed their rookie tight end, Terrance Ferguson, but that has changed. The Los Angeles Rams took care of business on Saturday. They signed their first pick. He was 46 overall in the second round to his rookie deal. It took a lot longer than a lot of people had anticipated, and that's because second-round picks that were selected in front of Ferguson, they got fully guaranteed deals. And because of that, that made other guys start to hold out to try to get similar contracts. Well, if you look at the deal that Terrance Ferguson ultimately signed, according to Adam Schefter of ESPN, the total contract is $9.71 million, and $8.05 of that is guaranteed. So that's 83% guaranteed. Brooks, who was drafted in the same position, Jonathan Brooks, last year, he had a contract where he had signed for $6.24 million. Of his $8.42 million was guaranteed, so about 74%. So the same slot last year got 74% guaranteed. Terrance Ferguson, 83% guaranteed. So I'm sure he's happy about that. It's up 9% from last year. So that's a good chunk. That really is. And rookie deals, they're not based on exactly where that player is drafted, and there is a negotiating period. There is some wiggle room for some negotiating when it comes to guaranteed money. And Terrance Ferguson, his agent, they got a contract and a number that they felt good about. And now you are in a spot where you got your top pick locked in and ready to go for training camp. I mean, it's the league changes quickly. I mean, the National Football League, contracts, players, things change very, very quickly. I mean, you look at the player that was selected right ahead of him, JT Tuimoloau out of Ohio State. He got 80.02% of his contract guaranteed. So that's exactly 9% up from last year's 45th pick. So it's clear what they did in this situation was you were just kind of matching it with last year and trying to get an improvement on that. And Terrance Ferguson is an incredibly important player for the Rams this season. The Rams were after a tight end for a long time, dating all the way back to, hey, Dalton Kincaid, and they were last year looking to trade it for Brock Bowers, and we've seen Sean McVay wanting to go to some more 12 personnel, having a tight end that can flex a little bit and move the chains and be a little more dynamic and open things up. Tyler Higbee, I think, is still going to contribute, but he is towards the later stages of his career. I think that Terrance Ferguson is going to jump right in and get significant snaps early on in the season, whether that's week 4 or 5 or earlier. That depends on how well he goes through training camp. But I can tell you just from talking to people close to the organization, in the organization, that Terrance Ferguson is a top priority, and this is not some project. They think that he's plug and play. They think that they can get big-time contributions from him in year one. I don't think that you're expecting some Puka Nacua historic season or anything like that, but the talent is certainly there. And the fact that he's starting the season as the Rams' number 2 tight end, I think at worst their number 3 tight end, that tells you that, hey, Colby Parkinson's still going to get some opportunities, and it's going to take some time to get acclimated with Sean McVay's offense. It can be very complicated, especially for tight ends. There's a learning curve. The tight end position isn't easy, but even if he's not a starter right away, which I don't expect, I don't think he'll break camp as the starting tight end. I do think by the end of the season, he will be getting a lion's share of the snaps if everything goes as planned, as they hope to, because Parkinson had an opportunity last season, and Colby Parkinson did not make the most of it. Now, in year 2, after an offseason, studying tape, finding a better way to optimize him, I do expect them to, because of the fact they invested a lot of money in him. I mean, you originally signed for that deal over $22 million, that you're going to try to feature him in some capacity. And Tyler Higbee, they have a lot of respect for, but this offense and this team, they don't have time to wait for anyone. It's going to be a meritocracy-based role for him. And if he can do what they hope they can do, I expect him to bring something that we haven't seen. And what that is they're going to have a more diverse offense, because we know Sean McVay has been reliant on 11 personnel for the majority of his career with the Rams. But Sean McVay's hinted at it. Les Snead's hinted at it. They want to use more 12 personnel. They've talked about it multiple times this offseason. And with Ferguson's ability to be more of a downfield type of tight end that has more speed, that can get to footballs and make contested catches with that vertical jump. Stop forgetting the fastest 40 time at the combine for tight ends. he can be a weapon, and he could be that red zone threat against these slower linebackers, and you can have that mismatch and that advantage, and the Rams have been looking for that for a long time. They were hoping that Colby Parkinson was going to be that red zone threat, but he just wasn't that. So I think he has the potential to open up the offense, and the fact is he's got the talent, he's got the athleticism, and where he was picked, hey, the higher you're picked, the more of a priority you're going to be. So I fully expect Terrance Ferguson to have a prominent role for the Rams in year one. I'm very excited about him, and I love the fact that you get this deal done. I'm glad that he got a deal that he feels good about. That's a good amount of guaranteed money for a guy that was drafted in the second round. So the Oregon Duck for Los Angeles Ram, I'm expecting big things from Terrance Ferguson in year one. But coming up next, we are going to talk some Kyren Williams. We haven't touched on that in a couple of episodes. And does it make sense for the Rams to pay him what he is after, considering some other guys you might need to pay? So why the Rams might not sign Kyren Williams, that's coming up next on Locked On Rams. Today's episode of Locked On Rams brought to you by FanDuel. Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. You're already following the action. Why not make it a little more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned on the beach. I've been using FanDuel to track my favorite matchups, and the app just keeps it fresh with new daily promotions and fun ways to bet. It's easy to use, fast to pay out, and makes even regular season games feel like must-watch events. Whether I'm placing a same-game parlay or watching a bet right into the ninth inning, FanDuel makes it feel like I'm part of the action. And I've been looking at all those really fun and interesting futures bets over on FanDuel. I really like this one. Around the horns, Bills, Texans, and Rams to each win their divisions at a plus 700. A deeper one, Bengals and Commanders to each make the conference championship game. Not insane. Bounce back year for Joe Burrow. Jaden Daniels, that Commanders team, lots of talent. 3 or more NFC North teams to make the playoffs. That's a plus 360. The Bengals and Commanders one is at a plus 2,800. So lots of fun, interesting stuff over there on FanDuel. So head over to FanDuel right now. And if you're new to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. Workplace stress is at an all-time high. 61% of the global workforce is reporting higher than normal stress levels. This summer is the perfect time to take small steps to focus on your wellness and manage the challenges that come with your workday. Of course, most of us can't just quit our jobs or take endless vacations, but we can start small, whether it's getting outside for a few minutes, adding movement into your day, or talking to someone who can help you navigate life's challenges. That's where BetterHelp comes in. And therapy can help you set healthier boundaries at work so stress doesn't spill over into the rest of your life. So you need those boundaries. You need to know when to turn it on, to turn it off. You can't be 24/7 all work. You have to have time for your family, for your friends, to just unwind and unplug. And if you have a busy schedule, do you ever wish you had more time to schedule appointments? Well, the flexibility of online therapy makes it easy to fit sessions into a busy schedule no matter where you are. And the great thing is I've seen how working with a therapist helps people develop positive coping skills that make day-to-day challenges easier to manage. I've seen it work wonders, and it's just an amazing program at BetterHelp. So as the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Unwind from work with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at BetterHelp.com/lockedon. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedon. And we are off and running here on Locked On Rams. Thank you for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single weekday. free and available wherever your podcast. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Want to send a special shout out to those everyday listeners out there watching and listening to every single episode of Locked On Rams. Cannot thank you enough. And now's the time. Training camp is in a few days, so now's the time to join the Ramily, join the Everyday Listeners Club. That's where you listen to or watch or do both to every single episode we drop, and then you won't miss a thing about your Los Angeles Rams. Okay, so let's get into it. Second segment, we'll talk some Kyren Williams. The last we talked, we kind of broke down that there is a mutual interest to getting a deal done. He's entering the final year of his rookie contract. The expectations from the Rams' end and from his end, by the sounds of it, are they feel confident that a deal can get done. Kyren Williams said to the LA Times recently, I would love for it to get done so I can take care of my family and the loved ones that helped me get here. I've always got trust in God, whether it happens now or I play out the season. I know it's going to happen eventually. I know with time it's going to happen. Sean McVay said, we'll see how far that we have to go with that, but he is a very important player and a part of what we want to be moving forward. He knows how much I love him, and so we'll see if we can get something done. Les Snead, he was quoted as saying, we all want this to work out. It's just, can we agree upon a contract where we feel like it's a win-win? And if it doesn't happen this year, it doesn't mean that Kyren is not going to be a part of next year. Doesn't mean that we don't do something a year from now. So the most important one to me is what Les Snead said, planting the seed that, hey, I don't think that if we can't agree to a contract before the beginning of this season, that we can't find a way to get a deal done later. But as we know, if he goes on to have a really good season and he stays healthy and the Rams have a great year and teams out there see him avoid injury and he corrects some of the issues that he had. I mean, the fumbling issues, the big key fumble he had against the Eagles, that proved costly there. I'm sure there's all these little things that teams and agents and scouts look for before they invest a ton of money in a running back. And there are things that Kyren Williams can clean up to put himself in a better position to get a big payday. So that's why the Rams are in a position where if you lock him up to a deal that, as Les Snead said, is a win-win, hey, it's like you are getting in on something before it blows up, right? Because remember the old saying, today's price isn't yesterday's price. And the hope, if you're the Rams, is can you get yesterday's price, meaning get him locked in on a price where, yeah, you still want him to do well, but it'd be kind of nice if you locked him up and then he explodes even more. And then you feel like, okay, he could have got a lot more on the open market, but we already got you locked up to a contract because of that security that you wanted. So from Kyren Williams' end, the win-win is, hey, I'm getting paid that guaranteed money, so I'm protecting myself in the event that I don't have the season that they're hoping for. I do get injured or something along those lines. So that's where the win-win comes into play. The question, though, is when you look at Kyren Williams, this is someone that Sean McVay has absolutely fallen head over heels for. I think that's a major factor. In his 2 seasons as a starting running back, he has 2,582 yards on 579 carries, 26 tutties. He's also been a valuable part of the passing game out of the backfield, 464 yards on 75 catches, has 5 receiving touchdowns. So those are really good stats. Really, you take those stats to arbitration or whatever it may be, and you look at kind of what that is. If that existed, you would feel pretty good about where you're at and how much you'll get compensated from that. Well, then you kind of look at the market, and he's going to make $5.34 million as a base salary this year. That's a lot less than he would get if he signed a new deal. So let's say he signs a new deal, that $5.34 million almost doubles or does double to over $10 million. Then you're feeling a little more secure financially, and you can do, as he said, take care of his family and the loved ones that helped him get here. Now you look at where he's expected to go as far as contract-wise, it's anywhere from that $10 to $13 million range per season, with the $13 million being on the high end. And the question for the Rams is this, do you feel like Kyren Williams is so unique that you can't replace him with either another running back you have internally, whether it be a Blake Corum or Jarquez Hunter, or you can draft a running back? I mean, they draft running backs every single year. We know the running back position can be pretty interchangeable. I mean, but then at the same token, Kyren is special. Like, I do think, is he like a Saquon Barkley or a Derrick Henry type of special? No, but I do think that he provides value to the Rams offense that is unique when you add the dirty work that he does as a blocker, when you add how he has chemistry with this offensive line and Matthew Stafford and understands his role. And then there's the intangibles, the leadership, there's the character that he brings. So I do think it's a nuanced thing. But when you put that all in a pot, if you're making running back soup, RB1 soup, and you're mixing that up, you do want him back. But then I think that one thing that the Rams have to strongly consider is a gift and a curse for sure. It's a champagne problem. There's no doubt about it. But the fact is they've drafted so well that in the blink of an eye, all this young talent is going to need to get paid if you want to retain them. I mean, just look at the guys that you want to give raises to, that you want to keep in this organization. You're going to have to sign new contracts for guys like Puka Nacua, 100%. Kobe Turner, 100%. Quinn Lake, maybe not 100%, but you like him. You'd like to have him back. And if he continues to take a leap, you'd feel strongly about your future with him. Byron Young, you feel good about that. Is he someone that's an absolute 100%? We have to keep him like a Nacua or a Turner? No, but there's those guys. And then you got that next tier of the even younger guys, the Jared Verses and the Braden Fisks at some point. So you have to consider all these things. And I do think the big major kicker in all of this is, I mean, if they don't reach an agreement, he's going to be extremely motivated. And then if he has a great elite season or even a top 10 running back season, you let another team pay him. If he does well, maybe you deem him absolutely necessary to your franchise's future. But here's the thing about Kyren Williams. The truth is I don't think Puka Nacua is replaceable. I don't think Matthew Stafford is replaceable. I think that he's just one level below being irreplaceable. I mean, for me, irreplaceable is like future Hall of Famers, right? I mean, just that truly elite talent. And I do think that at the right price, I'm still in on Kyren Williams, but we'll see. I mean, I really like Kyren. I do want to see Corum, though, and I do want to see Hunter. And I want to see them play well. And if they do you have second thoughts about an extension? And if they play well, I mean, who knows what happens for Kyren Williams' future? I mean, would they ever consider trading Kyren Williams? I'm not saying they should. I'm just throwing out all the possibilities that organizations have and consider when they're faced with tough situations like this. So I think ultimately at the end of the day, extending him would not be bad. I think there's some other options that are a little more risky that you could possibly end up in a better place. Like if Corum and Hunter worked out, then you wouldn't have as much of a financial commitment in the running back spot. We all know what happened with the Todd Gurley situation and the fact that he had just degenerative knees and just the health issues there. But I love what Kyren Williams brings to the game. The injuries, the fumbles, I mean, that is a concern. But I do think that if it's a couple years, 2-3 year deal, or you sign to a multi-year deal at the right price, I want him back. I'm not breaking the bank. He's not irreplaceable, but I do think from Kyren Williams' standpoint, I'm hoping that he gets a deal done where they can meet in the middle, where he's given up something a little bit just because of how much he wants to stay in this organization. But yeah, I just love the way he runs hard. He's efficient at the goal line. I mean, he definitely 100% has outplayed that rookie contract. There's no doubt about it. But I would not overpay Kyren Williams. I mean, running backs, save for the unicorns, the ultra elite, you can replace them. And I'm looking this through the prism of how do I build a Super Bowl roster where we take advantage of the resources and the assets that we have in front of us. So that's kind of where I'm at with Kyren Williams. Bring him back, but at the right price. But coming up next, we're going to talk some 53-man roster. That's coming up next on Locked On Rams. Guys, you probably heard of Viagra or Cialis. Maybe you've even tried them. But if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rugia Ad. Rugia Ad is a next-gen prescription treatment designed to amplify arousal in the brain and boost blood flow. Unlike the usual pills that can take hours, Rugia Ad's 3-in-1 formula dissolves under your tongue and kicks in fast, on average in 15 minutes. Effects can last up to 36 hours, so you can stay confident and in control when the moment is right. If traditional options haven't worked, Rugia Ad might be the answer. Over 150,000 men have already made the switch. I love that it's completely online. Rugia Ad connects you with a board-certified doctor and ships your treatment discreetly to your door. You can even read real customer reviews on their site. It's helping a lot of people feel more confident and present in the moment. Head to Rugiad.com/LockedOnNFL and use LockedOnNFL to get 15% off today. That's RUGIET.com/LockedOnNFL and use promo code LockedOnNFL for 15% off. Individual prescription treatment. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law, but are not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, or manufacturing review. Please visit the Rugia Ad website for full safety information. And welcome back to Locked On Rams. Thank you for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single weekday. Free and available wherever your podcast. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Okay, so we're going to dive into this 53-man roster this week. We're going to go position by position and break this up. And some of these will be a little more complicated and nuanced. There'll be some position battles, some guys on the bubble, but I thought we'd get the easy one out of the way first, and that is the quarterback position. There are two locks, and it is Matthew Stafford and it is Jimmy Garoppolo. Those two will be on this roster. Stafford, you don't even need to say anything about why. They renewed their vows this offseason. They're hoping that he can play at least 2 more years with the Rams, compete for more Super Bowl titles. Jimmy Garoppolo, he's back for this season. The only guys to have conversations about are Stetson Bennett, who I think is truly the only other guy that could make this team if he performs well during training camp into the preseason, avoids turnovers, shows marked improvement year over year from when we last saw him off the field, on the field, just everything from a maturity standpoint to a performance standpoint. Dress or win, the reason why he's on the roster is because he's a camp arm. He's a preseason backup quarterback. So really the focus is going to be on Stetson Bennett. And it's the third year that he's going to try to crack this 53-man roster. And really the ball's in his court. This organization has been loyal to him. They've given him every opportunity to go out there and take the bull by the horns, so to speak, and see if he can find a way to carve out a role in this league for this franchise. And that is one of the top storylines. I mean, say what you want about Stetson Bennett. Whether you like him, whether you don't like him, whether you think that he's a bust, whether you think he's the future of the Rams. The truth about Stetson Bennett is he's got it factor, for better or worse. That if he's in a headline, you click. If he's on a YouTube video, you watch. If people are talking about Stetson Bennett, you just want to listen. He's a multi-time national champion. There's just something that's unexplainably interesting about him. It's tough to articulate why, but it is the truth. And I'm very intrigued, especially for this Rams organization that is not going to be playing Matthew Stafford or have any quarterback battles. That's the interesting one to keep your eyes on. So that is where the 53-man roster is, at the quarterback spot. And we're going to continue to dive into each position group. We're going to look at those players on the bubble and tell you which players are fighting for their roster spot during training camp. But that's going to do it for this episode of Locked On Rams. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. A reminder that the Locked On NFL Top 100 is here, voted on by the NFL hosts of the Locked On Podcast Network. Our Top 100 was formed by experts that cover these teams and players every day. Find the full list on Locked On Sports today on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Don't miss my reaction to ours. We got Jared Verse in at 57. And I think at the end of the year, he's going to be much higher on that list. But that's going to do it for this episode. My name is Doug McCain, and see you guys tomorrow. Travis will be back. We got lots of jam-packed episodes, guys. Football season's almost here. Get excited. And until next time, whose house? It's Locked On Rams house.